What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. Chris filling in for Warren today, and we've got some massive news. The official teaser trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day just dropped, and even though it's only a few seconds long, it says a lot about the direction Marvel will be taking this next Spider-Man installment. Now, calling this particular trailer a teaser doesn't even do it justice. It's only several seconds long. We don't hear any words. We don't see any faces. We really just get a good look at the suit that they're planning on using in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, if we're comparing this to some of the trailers that have gone out recently for the MCU, like First Steps or the Thunderbolts, those teasers were almost basically trailers. But this here is a true teaser. It gives us an opportunity to talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day, which we have a lot of news to go over in general as they have started filming, and we know some pretty good details about it, but it also gives us a solid look at that suit. Now, let's talk about what's actually in this teaser. It's a short but moody 9-second clip that zooms in on Peter Parker in a completely new suit. This is a different suit than we saw at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, which will make some people happy, but a lot of people probably pretty sad because there was a lot of excitement around that bright blue and red suit that he had made in his new little apartment, and he was all alone. However, this suit has a dark red, almost burgundy, bold accents, a lot more synonymous to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man suit. Now, this could be very, very telling, and we'll talk about why in just a second, but let's keep on talking about this trailer. It does stand out in detail with those raised metallic web lines, and it's a fresh take we haven't seen in the MCU just yet, but of course we have seen it. It's a Raimi-style Spider-Man suit. The chest logo is familiar, almost like the one from No Way Home, but more defined and possibly even armored. We don't see any actions or villains. There's not even a voiceover. It is a silent teaser that shows us we are going grounded. Now, what does that mean as far as going grounded? Well, there's not a whole lot of tech that we're seeing on this suit, which in the MCU in the past, that's really what we've seen. When Spider-Man was first introduced to the MCU in Civil War, we saw some brief YouTube clips where he was wearing his own handmade suit, but since that moment, he had Stark tech, and he definitely developed that into the Iron Spider suit, and then in No Way Home, we had more tech than we knew what to do with. Spider-Man in the MCU has always been very tech-driven. At the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, once he had lost everything, he had out the sewing machine, and he made his own suit again for the first time since he was introduced in the MCU. And when we saw him swinging through New York in that suit, we knew we were going to get something grounded. We certainly hoped we were going to get something grounded. But then as we continued forward in the MCU and things outside of Spider-Man were happening, with the Multiverse saga, with RDJ coming back as Doom, we knew we were getting less and less of a grounded storyline with Spider-Man because it was coming after Avengers Doomsday. Therefore, it really couldn't be a grounded storyline. Doomsday is going to be a massive turning point for the Multiverse saga. In fact, after Doomsday, we're not really even expecting there to be multiple different universes. The multiverse probably will have collapsed at this point and will probably be on Battleworld. So a movie coming out after Doomsday would be very difficult for it to be a grounded Spider-Man film when it's happened after this multiverse shattering event. Now, it was always possible for them to go back in time and show us a Spider-Man prior to Doomsday, but that would have a lot of continuity issues, would potentially confuse the casual viewers, and it wouldn't really provide the same punch as Spider-Man now coming out before Doomsday, which is the new current case as they have delayed Doomsday and pushed that back. Which I know initially people think is really bad news. Nobody wants to wait more time for the new movies to come out, but ultimately this is going to give us an opportunity to get what we want in the way of Spider-Man. Now, although we're definitely going to be getting a more grounded Spider-Man in this movie in Brand New Day, I don't know that I would expect it to be 100% grounded. There are definitely going to be some multiverse connecting moments, which we should expect in a lot of different ways. When we're tying in the Avengers, the now new Avengers, the Fantastic Four making their way to 616, and all of these different details, we know that somehow or another this probably could and should affect Spider-Man as we're preparing to head into Secret Wars and Doomsday. But for the most part, for the beginning of this movie, we can definitely have a very grounded storyline. And with the rumors of who a lot of the characters are going to be joining this film, we know that there's definitely opportunity for that. So we've heard the Hulk will be joining, the Punisher will be joining, there's going to be an array of smaller villains involved in this movie, and there might even be some underlying tones and connections to Daredevil Born Again, with Kingpin as mayor. Now, there's a lot of questions about whether or not Kingpin can join Brand New Day because of the rights argument and if he can just join in TV shows, which is what the Kingpin actor had shared with us. However, we know that they're definitely ramping it up to begin as a very grounded storyline. And in a world where everybody has forgotten who Peter Parker is, a lot of these Avengers might not even know how to contact Spider-Man. They'll remember Spider-Man, like everybody does, but how do they reach out to Spider-Man? Spider-Man doesn't live in the same spot. So maybe there will be a beginning moment here where nobody knows how to get in contact with Spider-Man because nobody has his phone number, nobody knows who Peter Parker is. And there might even be a funny scene somewhere coming up where they're like, oh, we need to reach out to that Spider guy, and nobody has his number. Nobody knows how to reach him or get a hold of him. And Doctor Strange, the one person who might be able to remember who he is, isn't even there anymore. So there's definitely going to be an opportunity to demonstrate, look at this disconnect from Spider-Man to everything else that's going on. But how they play that in really ultimately determines to what direction they want this movie to go, which brings us to the cameo rumors that we've heard, and not just the cameo rumors, but these new characters that they're potentially connecting in the form of Sadie Sink. Now, there are a lot of rumors around who Sadie Sink might be playing, and we've discussed them a lot here on the channel, but realistically, with this suit, it's really pushing me into one direction. Now, we talked about how this was a Raimi-esque suit with the raised metallic look, the dark burgundy colors, but maybe there's a reason why we're going in that direction. The teaser is showing us that perhaps Tobey Maguire will be coming back. Now, why would he be? Well, let's just use the information we have. We know Sadie Sink will be joining the movie, and a lot of people have speculated heavily about her role, but one of my favorite, and what I really, really hope she is doing, is playing the role of Mayday Parker. Now, potentially towards the end of the movie, once we got our little grounded Spider-Man fix, we'll start shifting back to multiverse details. Perhaps we re-entered the Spider-Verse, and Sadie Sink, who is maybe Mayday Parker, more specifically, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man's daughter, Mayday Parker, might be jumping in as we're going to start hearing throughout the MCU about multiversal chaos. Different universes that are going to start going through incursions as the timeline starts to shrink in. Everybody making their way to a maybe single timeline, maybe 616, where we will eventually make our way to fight Doom at the TVA, because all roads lead to the TVA. If we're going to destroy the multiverse, we need to get rid of Loki, and that's where all of these characters will then be placed onto Battleworld. So one way or another, if we want to see Spider-Man moving forward in the MCU and not deleted on the timeline, he's going to have to connect with the Avengers and with all of the other stuff that's going on in Doomsday. And considering this is the last movie to come out before Doomsday in the MCU, there will almost certainly be a connection to that multiversal madness. And I think it's very likely they'll use the end of the movie to kind of get that going. Hopefully not just a post-credit scene. And I want to see a grounded Spider-Man. I just don't think we're in the environment for that at the moment. But this suit is definitely telling us they're still going to feed us that grounded Spider-Man story. They're going to pick up where they left off. Nobody knows who Peter Parker is. He was alone in a crappy apartment making his own suits. And I think the cameos and leaks that we've heard about this movie should have us excited for that storyline. And then this teaser trailer, of course, pushes the envelope that much further, as it does show us a tech-free suit. And it really is going to have drummed up the excitement for everybody who is expecting that down-to-earth Peter Parker storyline. But don't be fooled, there will almost certainly be some multiverse aspects thrown in there, even if it really is just the very end or the post-credit scene. But hopefully we get a little bit more details with Sadie Sink's mystery character being included. Now with this Raimi-esque Spider-Man suit being teased, there's definitely going to be a lot of talk about the multiversal aspects, but because this suit is so low-tech, we can still focus on the down-to-earth, ground level MCU storyline as well. I think we're still going to get some very strong aspects of that in this film. But definitely let me know what you thought about this teaser. It's short, it's sweet, but it is certainly complete, as it will be showing us hopefully the direction that they're planning on taking the early part, if not this entire Spider-Man movie. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. Don't forget to check us out on all other socials. We are everywhere sharing the Spider-Man news, and I'll check you guys out in the next one right here on The Cosmic Wonder.